The biggest obstacle people have when creating content is not knowing how to show up on camera. First, it starts with not knowing what to say. And then once you figure that out, you can still feel insecure and disingenuous. How do you change that? Today, I'm gonna be sharing my top tips on how you can show up confidently on camera so you can create content that people wanna watch and resonates with your audience. I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. I've actually spent the last 15 years creating content for hundreds of business owners and Fortune 500 companies. As a videographer, a big part of my role has actually been to get my subjects comfortable in front of the camera because I have one very important job, and that is to tell a story. And not only that, but I've also been creating content for myself for the last 15 years, starting with vlogs back when I was traveling, backpacking through the world, all the way till now where I'm teaching you all the lessons I've learned in my lifetime. So by the end of this video, you should have the top tips on actually showing up confidently on camera. And if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna be sharing the #1 tip, the one thing that people always forget about when they're showing up in front of the camera that sabotages the whole video. Now, the very first thing is knowing what you're gonna be talking about and structuring your content in a way which makes it easy for you to show up in front of the camera. This may seem obvious, but a lot of people get stuck on the camera, on the lighting, on the audio, all the fancy gear, but they forget that content value is more important than the production value. If you are talking confidently, if you're sharing value that actually means something to your audience, that's gonna matter way more than how you present it. How you present it can come later. Just focus on your message. And to do this, what I like to do is I just sit down on this couch, grab a pen and paper, and I write down my notes. I write down my thoughts, what I want to talk about in the video. And so when I get in front of the camera like I am right now, I feel a lot more confident with my message because I know what I am talking about. So focus on the message, and all that fancy gear will come later. Okay, so for my second tip is to actually plan your video in a way that is visually stimulating and engaging for your audience. Like I said in the last tip, it's important to plan out your message, but also plan out your video. So what's the visual story that you're gonna be telling? It could be as simple as like what I'm doing right now, switching positions in my studio and kind of making you feel like you're hanging out with me. But you can also like go on a hike with your partner or go take your dog for a walk or something like that. It's a way of kind of removing the stigma that people have that, you gotta show up in front of a desk with a laptop and talk formally to your audience. And that type of content is great for certain times and places, but it actually adds a lot more pressure that is unnecessary, and that actually prevents people from just showing up really confidently on camera. Just kind of think about what you're going to be talking about and what you're going to be doing throughout the video as you talk about those things. My third tip is to get physically comfortable in front of the camera. Of course, this depends on what type of video you're recording. If you're recording some hyper educational content, by all means, sit at that desk and have good posture and everything. But for a video like this, where I'm just trying to share some knowledge that I've gathered throughout the years, I'm just hanging out with you. I got my feet up here on the couch. I'm chilling, and I hope you are too. Make sure that you match the body language to the type of video that you are recording. And my top tip for this is to avoid being stiff and formal, especially if you're in a niche that is really boring. And no offense, but say that like you're a lawyer or something like that. 99% of the population doesn't understand what you're talking about. Break the chains, right? Break the stigma of what people think a lawyer is or a realtor is, and show up more casual, just like another dude or gal in front of the camera. And this is gonna help people relate more to you. It's gonna help you show up more authentically, because underneath the suit, there is a person that people want to relate to. Now, alongside body language, you want to be mindful of your eye contact. So make sure that you keep your eyes on the lens, like looking straight into the lens. If you can check it out here, I got a monitor up there, and a lot of people like to stare at the monitor instead of staring at the lens. And when you do that, the content feels a lot less personal. So what I like to do is I have my laptop over here with all of my notes, and I'm actually reading those notes and then looking straight into the lens when I'm filming my content. This actually allows me to just focus on the message, think about one thing at a time, and you, who's watching the video, gets to experience it in a very personal and natural way, rather than me staring at myself, on the screen up there. Okay, my next point is tone of voice. Nobody wants to watch a video where you're just talking like this. Hey guys, my name is Sebastian and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be telling you how to show up more confidently on camera. Because it's boring and it's dry. And nobody wants to watch videos like this if they're trying to learn something unless you're Mr. Beast. So make sure that your tone of voice matches your personality and matches the type of video that you're creating. And also try and use language that people can actually understand. Talk to your audience like they're in grade 5. Not because they're dumb, but because you're using words that everybody understands. The moment you start bringing in big words and big vocabulary, you actually lose the attention of a lot of people. And remember, your goal as a content creator or as a video creator is to communicate a message. Remember, the value you provide doesn't depend on the words that you use and how people perceive you. It actually depends on how well people can understand you. Use language that people can understand so they can actually get some value out of your content and hit that subscribe button. Alongside with that, you want to be mindful of some of the words that people use, including myself, in videos. Like, you know what I mean? Words like that don't really add anything to the video. Okay, and one of my top tips on how to show up confidently on camera is to remember who you are creating the content for. Remember who you speak to. To do this, it's really important to have an ideal client avatar. Not just a client, but an ideal follower or subscriber avatar. The person that you are speaking to. And if you need some help, I'm gonna put a video up here that is gonna help you with that. But the idea behind this is just closing your eyes for a second, picturing who you're creating the content for, and speaking to that person. Because if you show up on camera and go, oh, hey guys, then the person watching your video is not really gonna resonate with that. And you're also gonna feel less confident in front of the camera. So just remember who you're speaking to. Okay, so for this next tip, I'm gonna call Jazz in here because she has a really good tip on how to show up confidently on camera. Yo, Jazz. Hey, come. I got a question for you. Okay, so I'm making this video on how to show up more confidently on camera. And I know you've been practicing something, so maybe you can share your #1 tip to do so.
Sure. My tip for showing up more confidently on camera is to simply record yourself every single day.
Every day?
Yeah, because repetition is king and practice makes progress. So I've actually been recording myself every day. The plan is for 100 days straight, but right now I'm on day 28.
Do you have to post this or what?
No, you don't have to post it. I mean, you can, all the power to you, but it's just getting the reps in and feeling more yourself. So the more you do it, the better you'll feel.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for that tip. Heard it from her, guys. Now, at the beginning of the video, I promised you if you stick around to the end, I'll give you my #1 tip on showing up more confidently in front of the camera. And this is it right here. Join a community of like-minded people trying to do the same thing that you're doing. That is creating content on social media to build your personal brand. And when you do this, it becomes a really safe place for you to share your content and get real raw criticism back. And that's so important. It's so important to lower your walls, put your ego aside, and put yourself out there and say to people, give me your honest feedback. And they're gonna give you the real raw feedback that your audience on YouTube or on Instagram, they're not gonna be commenting. You know, I never, ever get a comment that says, hey, you know, your lighting could be a little bit better and your audio could be louder. That type of feedback mainly comes from my peers and other people that are doing the same thing that I am. If you're interested in joining a community, Jazz and I created the Personal Brand Accelerator Hub. It's hosted on Facebook. I'll put the link down below, and it's gonna be a really safe place for you to share your content with like-minded people. If you found this video valuable, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. We're gonna be posting more content like this to help you, the entrepreneur on the other side, grow and sell on social media. My name's Seb. Welcome to Awake Abroad Media, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.